YouTube, what is going on? Happy Tuesday. Happy post July 4th weekend. My name is Jake Asman. Welcome into my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, well, thank you so much for coming back. As I mentioned, I hope everyone had a great weekend. We're going to be talking Jets. We have to get to what was just an asinine take by someone over at Pro Football Focus that Mark Sanchez was actually the Jets' worst draft pick over the last 15 years. That is nonsense. That is garbage. We get to all that in just a moment. But first, if you're new to the channel, if you could please subscribe below. It goes a long way in helping me continue to grow, post content in addition to my daily radio show, heard weekdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern on Sports Map Radio. If you can't listen live, just search Jake Asman wherever you get your podcasts, and you can listen to both hours of the show on demand. Also, if you subscribe to the channel here and then follow me on Twitter and then DM me at Jake Asman, I will send you a link to how you could get a Zach Wilson jersey. It's not authentic, but it's pretty damn close. It's really good quality for around $30. So just DM me on Twitter. Please follow me there. Subscribe to me on YouTube, and let's make sure we can get every Jet fan whatever jersey they want, whether it be Zach Wilson or, Elijah Moore, Mekhi Becton, all that and much more. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about a list that Pro Football Focus put out. Mike Renner, who actually does a really good job. I've had him on my radio show before. Nice guy, but bad take here. He put out a list of the worst draft picks made by every NFL team over the last 15 years. And Mark Sanchez was the guy that got the nod for the Jets. This is asinine. Let's start with the obvious. Mark Sanchez was not as bad as maybe people think he was. Was he a franchise quarterback? No. But the idea that Mark Sanchez was terrible is a joke. It's not true. All right. Anyone that remembers Mark Sanchez for just the butt fumble, the most overrated play in history, is out of their mind. The butt fumble came when the Jets were garbage in 2012. It's only a big deal because it was against the Patriots on Thanksgiving. If it happened on a normal 1:00 game, on a random Sunday when the Jets were already out of it during that nightmare 6-10 season, no one would care. But it's the Jets, LOL Jets, Patriots, Sunday Night Football, or Thursday night on Thanksgiving, that it was only such a big deal. The butt fumble is the most overrated play in NFL history. But I just want to get that off my chest. As far as saying Sanchez is the worst pick over the last 15 years, Michael Renner, have you seen some of the Jets draft picks over the last 15 years? Have you seen what Mike McCagnon did the last couple of years? He took Christian Hackenberg in the second round. He never played a snap in the NFL. Forget, actually being on a team years later. He used a second-round pick on a quarterback that never took a snap ever. He's not even in the NFL. Hackenberg was garbage. Geno Smith, another quarterback in the second round. John Izek, what a pick. He was terrible. So let's start with just the quarterbacks that are far worse that the Jets have taken besides Mark Sanchez. Those two guys were awful. Now, as far as first-round picks, are we going D. Milner here? Are we going Quentin Coples? Do we want to go Calvin Pryor? Go look at recent first-round picks the Jets have made. They've all been bad, right? Mark Sanchez, say whatever you want about the guy, but the Jets went to 2 championship games with him at quarterback, 4 road playoff games. And for someone my age, I wasn't really old enough to remember the 1998 Jets. I didn't get to experience the 12-4 season with Parcells. So Mark Sanchez provided some great memories for me as a fan of this team. Chad Pennington, I have much respect for him, but even Chad Pennington didn't win as many playoff games as Mark Sanchez did. And I get it, Sanchez was on some really good Jets teams, but he played well in those games, and the numbers back that up. Look at Sanchez's stats against New England and the huge upset, the second biggest win in Jets history besides Super Bowl III. Sanchez played well in the playoffs. And and you tell me below in the comments if you think this. If Mark Sanchez got the ball back in the championship game against Pittsburgh in 2010, if they got off the field, the Jets defense was able to stop Big Ben on the 3rd and long and prevent a rookie named Antonio Brown from moving the chains, the Jets win that game. I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm not an overly optimistic guy usually when I'm watching my team play, but Sanchez was balling in that second half. If they get the ball back to him, the Jets win. They go to the Super Bowl, and they beat the Packers that year. They were the better team. Go look it up. So, this idea that Mark Sanchez was some scrub it didn't end up working out. We know what happened after 2012. They bring in Geno, Rex plays him in the preseason game, and that was the end of Mark Sanchez in New York. But the idea that Mark Sanchez is the worst pick over the last 15 years, that's nonsense. Here's another name I didn't even mention yet, and this is my opinion on who the worst pick by the Jets is over the last 15 years. It's Vernon Gholston. 2008, the Jets drafted Vernon Gholston out of Ohio State. He never had a sack as a top 6 pick in the NFL draft. That is just pathetic. 0 career sacks. Awful. Vernon Gholston was far worse than Mark Sanchez. Sanchez played well at times. Sanchez showed potential. It's just stupid to really harp on Sanchez being the worst Jets draft pick over the last 15 years. He's not even in the top 10. There are guys like Ja'Kai Polite in the 3rd round, who another, wonderful McCagnon pick that, he selected that didn't even play a damn game for the Jets, was cut in training camp in 2019. My God, think of some of these picks that the Jets have made. The Isaac 12, the McCagnon error. Tannenbaum didn't have some great drafts. It's just, man, when I saw that just, I don't know. It's a list at the end of the day. It's one person's opinion, but Mark Sanchez gets such a bad rap nationally, and it's so stupid. Mark Sanchez was not a bad quarterback. Was he great? No. Was he good? You could probably say no. But he was average, man, and he had some real good moments, for that Jets team. Those 2 teams that won all those playoff games, the 11-5 season in 2010, he played well, made big throws. Go look at his numbers in the 4th quarter in some of those games, right? And to win those games on the road, there's plenty of quarterbacks that would love to have the career that Mark Sanchez had in the league. So please, I think every Jet fan, if you're a real Jet fan, you appreciate what Mark Sanchez did. Right, he handled himself with absolute class when the Jets were railroading him by bringing in Tim Tebow or getting rid of Jericho Cotchery and, just bringing in guys that were not getting the most out of Mark Sanchez. Those first couple of years, if the Jets could have kept the core together, you know what? Maybe they do take a step forward and get to a Super Bowl with Mark. But after 2010, they started to really, break up the team. The 2011 season where they're 8-5 and then collapse at the end. Mark Sanchez, was he great? No. But the idea that he was a bad quarterback and it's just nonsense. The idea that he's the worst draft pick this team has had over the last 15 years when we've seen Vernon Gholston get drafted or Quentin Coples, D. Milner, Christian Hackenberg, Ja'Kai Polite, Calvin Pryor. Oh my God, my head is going to explode when I hear that. Here's one final stat for you too about Mark Sanchez. Playoff wins over the last 15 years that the Jets have had, 4. Playoff wins that Mark Sanchez has had over the last 15 years. 4. What more do you need to know? The Jets haven't been back to the playoffs since they went to the championship game. Mark Sanchez was better than people give him credit for. And by the way, I'm a Sam Darnold fan. I wish him all the best with Carolina. Sam Darnold was a worse draft pick than Mark Sanchez. If we're being honest, yeah, the Jets were able to turn Darnold at least into a 2nd and a 4, but Sam Darnold was a worse pick than Mark Sanchez. And I don't even think, you could debate that. Also, in the story, Michael Renner mentions that the pick, the Jets gave up a lot to acquire Mark Sanchez. Remember, they traded up to go up to number 5 and make the deal with the Browns to get him. You look back at what the Jets gave up to move up to get Mark Sanchez. They didn't give up a lot to get him. They moved up from 18 to go up to number 5. You know what the Jets gave up? They gave up a 2nd-round pick, defensive end Kenyon Coleman, safety Abram Elam, and quarterback Brett Ratcliffe. What are we talking about here? Imagine in today's NFL how much more it would cost to move up that many spots. You just watch the Niners go up from number 12 to number 3 and trade away 2 ones. The Jets went from 18 to 5 and only traded a 2nd-round pick and some fringe starters, backup type players. Give me a break. If your rationale for the Jets, for Mark Sanchez being the Jets' worst draft pick over the last 15 years, they gave up a lot to get him, you're grasping at straws if that's your argument. It's not true. But I'll tell you what, Jet fans, comment below. Who is the worst Jets draft pick over the last 15 years? For me, it's Vernon Gholston because of the expectations that were on him, top 10 pick. There have been guys that are worse. We mentioned a bunch of them. Christian Hackenberg never even played a damn snap for the Jets. But as far as where they took him and the expectation level, for me, it's always going to be Vernon Gholston. But look, You can't go wrong with many of the names I'm sure you're going to mention in the comments because, well, have you seen the Jets drafts over the last 15 years? That's why it's baffling that Mark Sanchez would be Mike Renner's pick for the worst draft pick over the last 15 years. Thanks so much for watching this video. My name is Jake Asman. I host a radio show on Sports Map Radio weekdays 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please subscribe to my channel for more exclusive daily video content, segments from the radio show, and so much more. Thanks for watching, everyone. Comment below your thoughts, and I'll talk to you soon.